CSA is a paradigm shift. When you redefine risk to look at patient safety and product quality, and you move from CSV to CSA, you're going to spend 20% of your time documenting and 80% testing. The idea is test more, document less. If you are unhandcuffed from step-by-step test cases, if you're allowed to take credit for the informal testing that you're already doing and put a little structure around it, then you're spending less time documenting. And at the end of the day, you're delivering a better system. Cisco, do you want to add anything to this?
No, and I cannot stress enough, because again, this is one of those John Murray credits, right? The idea of where the bulk of the work was often seen and done, how many times, and he had a world of examples surrounding the situation where perfect validation packages, volumes, reams of information, and simple things that mattered how the system worked were never tested, so the system never worked. And, you know, as he goes in and he's gone in on audits and he's gone in to see and try things, and when he gets the chance to try them, they don't function as they were intended because it was an oversight. Everybody was putting their attention on all this other generation of documents, sign-offs on them, you know, retesting features that were inherent to the system that were part of its manufactured, built by the vendor, and never executing it in their specific scenario. This was, I think, a big pain point for him, and he is the one who coined that, you know, 80-20 shift there. It's really what we're looking to drive. It's the documentation should be a value-added record for you, right? As an agency, as a company, as an organization. It shouldn't be about proving something to the auditor, and what we care about is, does it work the way you want it to work?
So let's talk about some of the benefits. You're going to reduce your cycle times. You're not spending as long creating test cases, reviewing and approving them. You're going to reduce execution cycle time. IQs we estimate by 80%. In fact, most of your IQs can be unscripted. Your OQs at least 50%. When you're, Cisco had said earlier that he's seen risk assessments where everything's high risk, but everything isn't high risk. When you put those goggles on that focus on patient safety and product quality, it reduces your risk. And I've had numerous product validation people say, you guys in software validation are crazy. You test things more than us. So lower number of defects. I can't tell you how many defects. The typical validation project, 80% of your defects are from cut and paste errors in your test cases because of prescribed expected results. You can reduce your number of documents. You can combine deliverables and test cases. That streamlines the approvals. Any standardization you can add to that with strategies. Test focused on the software quality from dev to prod. Capture your development activities. Take credit for what you're doing in development, for doing an integration. Everything doesn't have to be from your quality and production environments. Use your supplier qualification. That's a big one. Audit your vendors, take credit for their state of control. This leads to a maximized use of your resources. The whole idea of today getting more done with less, and it adds the capability to deliver faster value when you lower your documentation burden and you use unscripted testing. Khaled, what would you like to add to that?
Really, I mean, looking at that last step is basically that's all those, it's going to help you and convince you to automate even more. So we have always the question, we always ask most of our clients or colleagues, are you guys still on papers? How is your validation? How is your testing? Yeah, everything's paper. Why? We just don't want to go through the validation, you know, it's painful. Well, it's a productivity tool, right? Try to do the minimum. Just assure that this product works and automate, get off paper. It's much easier to do traceability from your requirement to your specs to your testing just via an automated tool. And that is really important.
Okay.
I think I want to just highlight that those benefits, and I've been shocked with a lot of the companies who've been willing to be open and share, just the level of impact shifting some of the approaches has had. And it's been encouraging because we've seen not only the value to them as an organization, but we've seen that they've been able to demonstrate that they're better at catching some of those issues and errors that they would have missed or have missed and found later in other parallel scenarios. So I really cannot stress enough the impact that we've seen from just some of these shifts and approaches. And just a note with the supplier qualification one, a caution and a watch out because I've seen this happening, and it's not in the partnership organization. Using your supplier qualification does not mean impose on them a QS regulated type audit system or expectation of them. Some of them are doing things that are appropriate and right for the speed at which they need to, really make that software work and keep it safe and secure. Leverage that is what it means. Do not go and force them to do something that is akin to what we see in the medical device space or in the regulated space.